Welcome back to Lost Legacies. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
And today we're talking about Lost, Season 3, Episode 11, Enter 7-7. While Sawyer tries to regain his stash in a game of ping pong, Sayid, Locke, and Kate investigate a mysterious building on the island, culminating in a confrontation with a familiar face. So what did you think about this episode?
I thought it was cool. I really liked it. Yeah, just, this is another one of those like solid Lost episodes. But, kind of more so because it doesn't necessarily recontextualize Sayid, but it does sort of just give more depth to a character that we already know and love. We also get some funny moments, the whole I guess C plot with Sawyer and the ping pong table. Mm-hmm. And we get to learn more about the island. What does that amount to? I have no idea, but I loved every second of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we finally met the Mikhail,
mm-hmm. the one-eyed man.
The one-eyed man. It's pretty cool. Very interesting character. What did you think when he first come on? Did you know oh, he's another for sure, or did you buy the whole Dharma story?
I kind of did buy into the Dharma story, mm-hmm. just because it felt genuine, mm-hmm. But once Sayid said that, oh no, he's obviously lying, he's an other. Once he said that, then it sort of dawned on me you know what? Yeah, that story, that's exactly what it is. It's a good story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know that I would have called it into question had Sayid not done that. But yeah, it felt too neat and it felt too rosy, especially for somebody working for Dharma, which just the little bit that we've gathered from not even from anybody within Dharma, but just the facilities themselves, they all feel like a facade. Because there's that whole thing where it's back at the other hatch, we have to type out all of our information, and then we, in the initial hatch with Desmond, they're being watched, they're being surveyed by the other hatch. That hatch is writing out all the information and sending it in a tube, but that tube's going nowhere. It's mm-hmm. going to the middle of a valley, Yeah. So this station, I don't know what purpose it's supposed to function, but yeah, it just felt, it's too mm-hmm. everything is a facade. So having somebody come up and be like, this is me, I genuinely believed that we were saving the world doing all this stuff, that's why I came on. It's in hindsight, it's that sounds way too good to be true. And mm-hmm. you just happen to be left alive after Dharma and the others went to war, essentially. Yeah, I don't buy that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no reason to let him live,
Mm-hmm.
It's a really interesting character, but I like all the little subtle details they give him, Mm-hmm. Even the gymnast, he mentions the greatest Russian athlete of all time. He's we also share a birthday. I'm just that's brilliant, because it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It just adds more detail and a little bit more depth to that story.
Yeah.
I do have to say, though, so much of this episode happened because Locke couldn't stop playing video games.
Dude, I know.
I was dude, are you serious?
It's you've been away from civilization for months, and then the first computer you come up that has a game on it, you're oh, I gotta do it. See, this is the future that our moms warned us about. Mm-hmm. It's don't play video games, you're gonna get addicted, you're gonna get sucked in. It's yeah, John Locke is living proof of that.
Yeah, Kate wasn't as annoying.
Yeah,
once again, no Jack, so those are 2 thumbs up right there.
Yeah, that's kind of a plus.
Yeah, it's just kind of what you said. I don't know how much we really got. I guess because we always talk about flashbacks first, let's just talk about Sayid's flashback.
Mm-hmm.
Again, yeah, like this we didn't really get anything new out of it, but that's okay. Like it was just more to the story.
Mm-hmm.
We could have gone without hearing about this chapter, but it was a good chapter, and it was good to see how remorseful he is. We already knew he was remorseful, but this
Mm-hmm.
just kind of doubled down on it.
It doubles down on it, and then it sort of makes the finale of Saeed's journey this episode. It sort of makes that clearer,
Right. Mm-hmm.
because he gets told that message, like, I don't want to be like those kids that are putting
Mm-hmm.
firecrackers in a box to scare a cat. I don't want to, bring that pain into the world. And Saeed, really takes that to heart. And especially after everything that's happened to Saeed on the island, the fact that he won't kill somebody, I think says a lot,
It does. It kind of emphasizes that if he's going to kill someone, it's going to take a lot.
Yeah, they're really gonna have to deserve it.
Yeah, like it's just weird. I wish we would have got this episode earlier in the series, because that would have made his turn with Shannon's death more dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've always known Saeed since season 1. He's a soldier. He's a torturer. He can kill you. He can kill anyone. He's the soldier on the island. He's the one you go to for safety or backup.
Mm-hmm.
So, when Shannon dies, like, oh man, that's the wrong guy to piss off. Mm-hmm. He's hurting, so he goes after Ana Lucia. I guess if you think about it, like, you could say this story also affected that. This might be also one of the reasons why he didn't kill Ana Lucia. Yeah. It's just it would have been nicer to get this story earlier in Saeed's story. It would have made more, not that it would have made more sense, but it just would have flowed better. It would have been, I think, more dramatically relevant to see this is how much it takes to get this guy to snap.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I mean, I thought the flashbacks were good. There was nothing too flashy about it. It was just boom, boom, boom. The acting was phenomenal. They brought the actress back from season 1 who he tortures off screen.
Mm-hmm. What was up with that cat?
Yeah, the cat named Nadia.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I think that's something too, because okay, wait, the cat Nadia, that's the island cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Because that kind of throws Saeed for a loop too. Like, But the cat in the real world in his flashback wasn't named Nadia, but you're pretty sure it's the same cat.
Oh, 100% it's the same cat. Yeah.
The show, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The show's rad. Love it.
As far as Saeed's story, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Like, there wasn't much to it, but we got in, we got out. One of the things I really liked about this episode is how, like, they trimmed all the fat. It wasn't a one-off episode like last week's Hurley's, because we did get more info. We are slowly moving towards the story is progressing. It's just very slowly, very in chapter episodic way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but Joy, Miss Clue came back
and then promptly died, which makes me upset. But I think I don't know. It's no fault on the actor's part. It really is just how underwritten this character was, and how underwritten the others are. How they're all just meant to be vague and mysterious, and it's like, that's fine, sure, but we're 3 seasons into the show and these people are still being vague and mysterious. We know nothing about them, and it's like, I'm sick of it. I don't care. It's not working on me, man. Like,
and that's why I think it really worked with MacLeod, because he wasn't like that at all. Even though everything he was saying was a lie, he was someone you can talk to, you can have a conversation with, and you're like, oh, okay, all right. So Yeah. Oh man. Very interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with him next, since he's their prisoner. Oh, I also love just how cold Russo is. She's like, "You guys, you do your thing. I'll wait for you by the river. Those of you who survive." Like, oh man.
Like, dang. And then I love how like there was a little moment when Saeed's bringing Mikhail out of the compound, and then Rousseau just quietly like comes around and comes
Dude,
behind
she
Mikhail.
just like one steps her way out of the bush into the formation. I was like, dude.
Yeah. And then she says something, and if you look at Mikhail, he turns kind of quickly to like, who the heck is that?
Yeah.
When did she get here? Like,
yeah.
I loved that. I thought that was really cool.
That was pretty cool. I was like, damn, was she like Batman?
For not really doing much, within this series, Rousseau is just an absolute A-list character. Like, she's incredible. I love everything about her. She's great.
And
it's like she's the opposite of what the others are, even though there's maybe about as much vagueness and mystery surrounding her. Like, I don't mind it, because she's such a compelling like character that it's like, even with what little she's given, she's able to just like turn this into a performance. Like, you can see her pain. You can see that she's been here forever, and she's just accepted her fate, Whereas all the others, they're just like, we're here, we're mysterious, we're doing the thing. And it's like, with her, it's not grandiose. It's like,
it's like
I'm protecting myself.
I'm trying to think, like, as an actor, like, how do you play this character?
Yeah.
They're literally giving you nothing. They're so closed off and guarded. How do you do that? Other than Juliet, because there is like, she does care. There's a softness to her, but there's also a strength. And I'm like, okay, Juliet, that's a good character. Ben is just creepy, so they just double down on the creepiness. But all the others, I'm like, I don't know how you guys can play these roles. Maybe they can't. That's why it ends up the way they are, Yeah. So the ones who do stand out, they really do stand out. I kind of wish there was more, or there were more characters, kind of like Russo. And what I mean by that is how they're this little entity, this little like chaotic entity just on the island.
Yeah,
I like that, because we're 3 seasons in, and she kind of just comes and goes. Sometimes she's our friend, sometimes she's not. Like, almost every time they meet Rousseau, she almost shoots them. Like, literally, that's not even a joke. They almost kill each other just trying to find each other. Like, I like that, and I wish we had more of that. Desmond was kind of like that, because he showed up for 3 episodes, and then he took off. And then he came back and joined the cast. Yeah, I'm like, why couldn't you do something like that with Carl? Bring him in for a little bit, get some info, and then he's out there. I kind of like the idea of like these little rogue agents just out there,
That's kind of how I feel about Clancy Brown's character. Like I kind of wish they hadn't killed him off so fast, especially because he's linked to at least 2 people who are on this island now, Desmond and Saeed. Like,
that's why they killed him.
Obviously, that's probably why they killed him. But I agree with what you're saying. I wish there were more of these little chaotic sort of characters, these free agents just sort of roaming around on the island. And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's because I don't find the others as compelling. Or as interesting, it's like, I want to know what's up with them, but every time we go with them, I'm like, man, this is such a slog. Like, I just want to know, where it's like all these other people, I'm like, even Mikhail, who is another, I'm like, dude, I love you. I want to see more of you. I want to know what you're doing here. He has cows. He had meat in the fridge. and then they just blew it up. I'm like, come on, Locke, you blew up a house. Like, we could be using this stuff. You know,
it was on accident, but this is the second time he sabotaged their attempts at communication with the outside world. At least this one seemed like an accident. But
and it's not even that, but it's like living situation. You know, like you know you know the hatch that first hatch is gone. You know, that had showers. You know, that had a restroom. That had a lot of amenities.
I'm pretty sure Saeed could have got that communication dish working.
Yeah.
So I think also what kind of plays into the whole mysteriousness of like Rousseau and like why I wish there was other characters is most Lost episodes, you're kind of in a location we've already seen. You know, unless you end up like, oh, you're on another island and you get all this extra stuff. But it's like now we know and they know now there's a barracks on this island. So that's next. They're going to go try and find that next. So every now and then you find something new. So there's all these mysterious locations keep popping up on the island. You would just naturally think that there's going to be several people out there doing who knows what, working for who knows who, you know? That's kind of why I wish we had more characters like Rousseau in the show. Yeah. So
maybe when we get to do our Lost revival, Lost Legacies.
Well, actually, I think I kind of teased this question to you a while back, like off the podcast, but I'm going to bring it to you now. Would this style of show, this kind of quote unquote ensemble show, would this work in Star Trek?
Oh.
So I guess technically the question is, it doesn't have to be specific to Star Trek, but I was just kind of thinking about that, you know, because Star Trek, until Star Trek Discovery, they had always focused on the captain as the lead, but they're ensemble shows.
Right.
So that's why I was kind of had Star Trek in mind. But yeah, like, do you think... Well, man, I feel like the answer is yes. I think every show should try to be like Lost, where you have characters coming in and out.
I'm sorry. We need to focus on that really quick. Where it's like every show should be like Lost. That's
every
it.
Show should be like Lost.
That's it.
Cut.
That's title
End
of episode. End of episode. Put it on t-shirts. There you go. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree that more shows need to take could stand to take some cues from Lost to have, you know, like a rotating ensemble, you know, so we're not focusing on the same, you know, 5 characters every episode, you know, and have to fill time, you know, for all this stuff. And even though Lost does get lost in its own sort of in its own like story structure, you know, and then it's like, oh, okay, we got to fill time for these 22 episode seasons. Like, we're going to do a Jack episode. We're going to do the episode where we find out about Jack's other tattoo now. You know, all that stuff. So it's like Lost doesn't always get it right, but I do think that it does do the rotating ensemble fairly well. And I could definitely see that in something like Star Trek, you know, if we're going to if we're gonna kind of do the thing where it's like, okay, yeah, like we'll say that bridge crew, you know, that's main cast, and they'll probably be in, you know, more of the episodes, you know, than not. But I think it would be really cool if you combine something like next gen crew or like bridge crew and then lower decks crew, you know, or just, you know, we're going on more stuff. Like Geordi's not always on the bridge. He's in engineering most of the time, you know? So like, we're going to do that, you know, we'll focus on this. And hey, like there are a couple of, you know, security guards, you know, who are like, oh, they're going to go on shore leave. Like, we're going to actually follow them. Like, cause they have like a kind of interesting dynamic, you know, from last couple of episodes. So they'll be the Nikki and Paolo of our Star Trek show, you know, or whatever. But yeah, I do think that more shows could have, you know, could have a structure of coming in and out of other character stories while also building into the main plot, you know, or even just standing apart from the main plot. You know, there's absolutely no reason why we have Hurley working on a shuttle, you know, just to get it going this episode. But you know what? We're gonna have Hurley building a shuttle this episode and trying to make it fly, you know, all that stuff. Like, yeah.
Like, you know, there are other ensemble shows, but like, how many times has Grey's Anatomy not featured Meredith Grey, the lead? You know, we're talking right now about Jack being gone for 2 episodes, and it really works. He's the closest we have to a lead, you know, because it is an ensemble. There are several leads, but he's kind of the one who's the most consistent because he's like the de facto leader. So much of the plot revolves around his actions. So he's pretty much our lead, but he comes in and out. And sometimes he's just there for a little bit. You know, I watched several shows where like it has a big cast. They're technically ensembles, but everyone shows up for every episode, which is okay. But I'm like, okay, that means every now and then you're going to have this character who you love not really doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, that could have been anyone. I always like it when that other character shows up. Like, oh, yeah, it's this guy, you know? Chief O'Brien is a big example if we're going to talk Star Trek, because he's kind of just like, he was never an extra. He always had, every time he showed up, he usually only had like one or two lines. But he was like a glorified extra with a few lines. And then as the years went on, he started getting a bigger role. I don't think they gave him a name until season 3, maybe.
Oh, wow.
It was season 2 or 3, I think. Something like that. Or maybe he had the name, but he wasn't chief.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. So like they slowly built him out, and then they ended up liking him so much, he became one of the leads on Deep Space Nine. You know, he leaves Next Gen and goes to Deep Space Nine. You know, so I kind of like that. You know, he shows up, it's like, oh, Data. I'm sorry,
Chief.
Data. Chief. Same thing with his wife. Like, I don't think we ever met that character until the wedding episode.
Oh,
but
wow.
after then, she keeps showing up every now and then. And you're like, oh man, it's cool to see her again. You know, that's what I like. That's the impact I like for the characters. When someone shows up like Desmond, he's like, oh, it's this guy. Like Rousseau, oh, she's back. You can't have that for everyone, for the whole cast, but I do like it when they leave and come back. And I guess Jin would be a great example, because we just talked about how like he was gone for 6 episodes, and because of the break they took and all that stuff, that meant we went 6 months without Daniel Day Kim on our screens. And when he comes back, it's like, yes, he's back. Jin. Yeah. I don't know. I just wish shows played with that more. Game of Thrones should have been the perfect one. You know, like the formula was there for them, but they just didn't use it. Yeah. I mean, amateurs. Amateurs.
Okay. All right. I was going to try and defend Game of Thrones, but you know what? No. Not today. Not today, Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh, so that's it? You just cut yourself off? Okay, all right.
Oh yeah.
You're like, never mind.
No, I'm done. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
I got no horse in that race. You know.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer the other day for the new one, House of the Dragon, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I might check it out. I'm like, more than likely, I will probably watch it. But as of right now, I'm like, I'm not excited for this.
Yeah, you know? Someone posted, Matt Smith has an excellent career of joining projects that a lot of people are going to watch, but nobody really cares about.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. Or joining these big franchises, but in the chapter nobody cares about. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, man.
He was in Morbius. He's like the bad guy, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. They're like childhood friends. I think they have the same disease.
Yeah.
And then so Morbius cures his by accident, and then Matt Smith cures it. I don't know. From what I've heard, everybody says that Matt Smith's actually really great in Morbius. Like he's giving a great performance. I'm like, cool. I'll check out his scenes on YouTube. Like that's it. Yeah.
I mean, he's a great actor. That's what they say about his stuff, you know. Morbius sucked, but Matt Smith was great. Pride and Prejudice versus Zombies sucked, but Matt Smith was great in the small little role he had. And I just realized that, who is it? Collins? Mr. Collins? Right?
Yeah, Mr. Collins.
Not a very good character at all. Kind of a bad dude. But
wait, you're just realizing that now?
Well, I never really paid much attention during Pride and Prejudice. But I knew he was unlikable. I just didn't really care why. But I love Matt Smith's version of him. You know, I'm just like, dude, it made him less of like a brown noser and more of like, I don't know, sympathetic. Like just kind of like the very meek kind of Ichabod Crane character. You know, like he's just doing it because this is what he needs to survive, you know? Yeah, but he's trying to be good.
See, yeah, I can get behind that interpretation, but yeah, usually like any other adaptation, like Mr. Collins is, you know, he's the school, you know, tattler, you know, he's gonna rat you out to the teacher, you know, and you know, if it gets him in a higher standing, he doesn't care who he has to sell out, you know, like that's and not to say like he's a criminal or anything, but yeah, it's just that like that's who he is. Like he you know, and he's very privileged, even if it's not from even if it's not like that high in society, like he still benefits from that. And you know, yeah, it's just that I feel like more often than not what it is that he might be fine, he might be an okay person, but when you have a protagonist like Lizzie, you don't want her to settle, and that's what's going to happen with Mr. Collins. She's going to settle.
And I mean, and that's the whole thing too, it's from Lizzie's perspective.
Oh yeah,
so he probably is just a normal dude, but that's the last thing she wants.
Yeah.
So the story really portrays them in this different way. It's not, I'm not trying to like defend the character or anything like that, but you're like this. You got to understand the story is told from her perspective. I mean, that's also why Darcy is such I don't know, a dick. You know?
Yeah.
It's probably like elevated because that's how she sees him. And until she doesn't.
Wow, what a wild turn of events this episode has taken. You know, is this like, are we like, I don't want to say we're like Mr. Collins stands or anything or defenders, but are we like sympathizers? No, I'm not gonna say that.
No, just the Matt Smith version, because
just the Matt. Okay, yeah,
because they did it in a certain way where you could,
right?
You know,
right.
Yeah. Now to tie it back in. Pride and Prejudice. That would be a great story told Lost style. Just ensemble, you know?
Oh man.
Make Lizzie not the main character.
Yeah.
Let's just focus on all the girls and see what happens. And then they come in and out. You know?
Yeah, there's so many stories going on in there. I mean, you know, one, you get like her eldest sister, you know, having finally, you know, getting like proposed to and all that. And so it's like mostly about that.
Yeah.
You know, you can do the mom, you can do the dad, her sister who runs off with that soldier and now they have to get married. Like that's all, you know, that's crazy. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, give me that. Give me a Downton Abbey, like as long as a Downton Abbey season, you know, limited series.
Yeah.
Pride and Prejudice.
It doesn't have to be limited. What's 6 seasons in a movie?
Oh gosh,
no, but like,
I producers of ABC.
I think there's something to be said about that. You know, like I think that would be a really cool interpretation, especially because like that's one of the classics, and it's been told and redone over and over. That would be a cool, fresh way to do it. And then every now and then, I don't know. Of course, Darcy's going to have to get his episode. See everything from his perspective, and like,
Mr. Collins will have to get from his.
Yeah, Mr. Collins. That would be really interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
It'd be real interesting, like the characters who don't really show up as often. Because I'm thinking of Lady Catherine de Bourgh, like
Yeah.
she only comes in and out whenever, like, oh, we have to go talk to her, oh, we're summering, whatever. That'd be really interesting to see Pride and Prejudice from like her perspective, where it's like she's just on the outside. She's hearing all this other information secondhand.
Because is she the one who's the one, like she's Colin's like benefactor? Is that her?
I think it's her, yeah.
You see, so that would be really interesting. So yeah, like you would get to see more of that relationship kind of from his perspective or from her perspective.
This is really interesting. I'm gonna have to write this down because I kind of want to do this now.
Yeah, start writing, and I think it'll be great. And you end the season with a smoke monster. Hey, and it's all on a spaceship. So
yeah.
Moving on. All right, Sam, MVP for this episode.
Obviously, it's Naveen Andrews.
Did you say Mr. Collins?
Oh yeah, obviously it's Mr. Collins. Like that's what Naveen Andrews is. Mr. Collins.
Mr. Collins. How could you not like this guy?
I'm gonna have to say, Lizzie, you're a fool. I don't care who Mr. Darcy is. You're a fool. It's Naveen. Yeah, he's great. But I will throw a shout out to MacLeod. I don't know who the actor is, but yeah, because as far as characters go, like new characters, it's fascinating. One of the most fascinating we've had in a while. Definitely more interesting than pretty much I guess with the exception of Juliet, the most interesting of the others we've met this season.
Yeah, for sure. That's who I was going to go for. So we'll give it to Naveen Andrews and Andrew Divoff, who, he's a Russian soldier in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice. Also, just want to give another heartfelt shout out to Mira Furlan. She's great. Anytime she shows up, it's always great.
Yeah. Oh, he was one of the bad guys in Air Force One. And okay, hang on a second. He was in 4 episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Wow.
2 of them he played Carlos Darius. One of them he played Alberto Cardoza, and another one he played Rudy Mendoza.
You're just playing. You have this Russian man playing Mexicans?
Well, okay, so he's Russian and Venezuelan. Venezuelan?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Venezuelan. Okay.
Venezuelan. So
okay.
I just thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. Wow.
Rudy Mendoza.
Hey, we're all humans. We contain multitudes.
Okay, so any predictions? This is an interesting one with the little info we do have here. We did find out Saeed. Saeed was good this episode, man. He was on point. He did find the Dharma operations manual and a map, but the map was of like the electrical grid and utilities. And that's how he found the barracks where several people could live comfortably. Yeah. So we're led to believe that's where they're going next.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts here? Any predictions?
Well, I'm going to say this. I don't know necessarily about like following the map to the barracks or whatever, but I will say that much like season 1, where we had Jack and Locke butting heads about, science and faith, reality and faith. Like, I think this season we're going to get, another clashing between Locke and Saeed about, I guess, like technically about that, but more so I feel like on Saeed's part, like the decisions and the chaos that is being left by Locke just blindlessly pushing forward, blindly going, into the thing because he has to, because he feels like he needs to do it, Because I think whenever characters have done that on this show, it's gone one of two ways, and usually it's the other way in that it's bad.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Dang.
Well, find out what happens next time when we talk about season 3, episode 12, Par Avion. Is that French?
Probably.
Par Avion. Par Avion. Anyway. Saeed, Kate, Locke, Russo, and their new prisoner journey further inland to the barracks. There you go.
Oh, okay, cool.
Question solved. Meanwhile, Claire devises a clever plan to get them all rescued.
Ooh, a Claire episode. We haven't had one of these since season 1.
Yeah.
All right, I'm down.
That's true. We talked about that. She didn't have a season 2 flashback. Wow. Okay. We got Dave show up in a Hurley episode. Ugh. But we couldn't get Claire. Well, guys, thanks for everything. Thanks for joining us. You know where to find us. I'm on Twitter _Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Reel, that's REEL, Texas Weirdo.
So next time, guys, get lost.
Get lost.